Hello.
Hello! What a
You
harrowing journey you took to get here, Laura.
yeah, I'm very irritated. I don't know. I always sit down 15 minutes before things start. I get everything set up. I have
You gotta
opened
get
the
the vibes
party,
aligned. Yeah,
and
you gotta get the
at
vibes aligned.
noon, just wheel of death, wheel of death. So, and I feel like I'm choppy now. My
You
feed is
seem
choppy.
fine. Nope,
Good. Okay.
you seem
Cool.
fine. You seem
Uh,
fine. And you look
but
great. The compliments have been rolling in for this Sophie
well,
scarf, headband, headphone situation, Laura. Very cute. Yeah,
yeah.
hot
I forget.
milkmaid.
I
Yeah.
forgot about the headphones of it all when I did the headband, but we're doing heads on heads on heads. But
Mhm.
very kind of everyone. But I hope in my absence you were talking about how you finished your Leelanau and how great it is. Oh
I
my God.
did. I know. I feel really, this is just like a little cutie. I'm gonna pop back.
And
Yeah.
way to
Look.
commit to the bit because I couldn't. I could only manage a Sophie scarf today in our 52-degree, unseasonably warm weather in February. I just can't. I can't put
Oh.
wool on right now. I just had to. I wanted to like come in costume, but I just was on a big morning walk and so warm and toasty, and it was the scarf was all we could manage today. So,
Well, it looks great. It's a good fit. I
but
have
you're a
every window open
professional.
in my house.
Yeah,
Because that's what you do when it is 60 degrees in February in the Midwest. You throw open all the windows just to, air the place out. You got to while you can. It'll snow next
exactly.
week. You got to get the airflow. All right. That's
Yep.
what we do. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Uh,
phenomenal. So I really mega appreciate your commitment to entertaining the people and
got
support
to.
of the Leland Cal, which is going really well. So
Yes, so good. Yeah, so good. Well, happy to wrap, Laura. Finally, I've wanted one of these sweaters for years. I'm
yeah,
so happy to finally have one, and I can see what all the hype's about. I can see why you always make this.
yeah. I've got my little stack of three that like keep me a constant friend and inspiration, and it's keeping me going. No doubt about it.
Oh, you could stuff them and like put, I don't know, like a broom handle in them, and then they
Yeah,
could really be a
to be
friend
like
to
ghosts. I
you.
know. I would like to hang them on the door, but the command label, the command hook, I don't
Oh.
trust her tensile strength. I don't trust her. So.
No, until we get that sponsorship, and then we will sell that to
Any
Definitive
minute
Wishes
now.
Life to
Yeah.
everyone. Yeah.
Any minute now.
So strong. So strong.
Oh yeah.
Once we start getting paid to sell those, that's the best product on the planet. So
100%.
we are very good
Until
at
then,
selling things.
until
Till
then,
then,
it's
I don't know
mid.
her.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
I don't know
mid.
her.
Hmm.
She could hold. She might not. Probably not. I don't know.
Yeah. None of my business.
No, I don't know.
And that
I
is
don't
your
know.
non-free endorsement.
You're non-free. Nah,
Yeah, it's fine.
that's all we
It's
do.
fine
Just
until you
getting
want this
paid.
renter on your payroll. It's fine.
All right. Well, I did a little sneak already, Laura, of my Colette. But I'm excited to do this for the people who are watching this recording. So what do you think? Should we talk about what work
Yeah.
in progress is? Well, Laura, I was saying with 2 at a time sleeves, there's a point where you just want to set it on fire because it is so
Hmm.
annoying.
Yeah.
And I was there last night when I was like, why are you doing this? This is a bridge too far. This is making you crazy and you're unhappy. And I coach people to when your hobby is making you unhappy, you need to change what you're doing because that's not the point of this. But
Hmm.
this morning I was like, you know what? I'll give it a couple more rounds to see if I can settle in. And I did it. I pushed through, and now I have my sleeves going.
Wow. They're little nubs, but they're there. They're
Tiny
the
little
tiniest cap
nubs.
sleeve. Tiniest
Yep.
cap sleeve.
Yep.
Well,
What
it's
what killed me is 5 rows in after the pickup, I had to do this cable. And that took me about 14 hours to get
yeah.
through. It was miserable.
Well, I'm really
It was
glad that you're
miserable.
sharing this detail because you are a extremely pro two at a time sleeves.
I am.
You are a
I
big
love them.
proponent, but I
Yeah.
think what gets lost in the sauce is everyone thinks you're saying, I love them. It's super easy and I never get frustrated. So I think it's helpful for you to be
No.
like, no, it's annoying. The setup's annoying. It can be very annoying, but then you're done.
Hmm. Yeah.
So
The
it's a trade-off.
reward outweighs that
It's a trade-off.
first couple of rows
Yeah.
that just is a pain in the ass. It's like what you were saying last week, Laura, about the big join.
Yes.
When you get the body and the sleeves on and everything's so tight in those armpits and it's really
Yep.
uncomfortable, you just kind of have to get an inch in and then you're like, oh, okay, this is great. I can see the benefits of this.
Totally.
That's exactly the same thing with the 2 at a time sleeves, I think.
Yeah, I think that is more relatable, and people really enjoy the honesty that we bring to the table. So, we're not here to tell you that this hobby isn't a pain in the ass sometimes, but it
No,
is worth
it's
it.
such a pain.
So
Yeah,
that's how
it
you
is
know you
worth
can
it.
trust us. Mhm.
Yep. Exactly. Exactly. 2 at a time sleeves are the command hooks.
Yeah, they're fine.
Yeah, they're fine. Yeah.
It
they're
turns
just
out
fine
we just don't
until it
like
starts
sleeves all
hanging.
that much.
Yeah, sleeves
Yeah.
are lame. And you just want it over as fast as humanly possible.
Yep.
Yeah. It is what it is.
Yeah.
So Laura, this is going to be my travel project for our sewing weekend this weekend. I'm going
Wow.
to be bringing these sleeves.
I love it. That's awesome. Yeah. I don't have a lot of wow moments for everybody this week because I'm trying to get to certain points on certain projects, right? So speaking of Leelanau, I've got the big join. So I am through that part that Allison was mentioning. I've got about 2 inches of the raglan now, and it's going a lot smoother. And we're doing a little neckline experiment in our work group. So I'm trying to hit a certain point before Monday, which I feel like I can do because I'm about at that point where the decreases start to feel like they're actually decreasing stitches. Up until this point, it
Yay.
just feels like it's 900 stitches on the needle.
And you're just rolling downhill now. You're just rolling downhill.
Yes. So that's a big motivator when you're doing the big join to just keep joining. And I'm also trying to get our porcelain to sleeve pickup point for class, and I'm almost there. I'm like so close. So I've just got a little more stockinette to do before I join for the sleeves, so we can do our big razzle dazzle in our in-person co-talk class on Saturday. So
that's gonna be a big deal.
Knocking a lot of stuff off the list, okay. And then this is mostly just for you, but everyone else can listen, I guess. Back in the day when we were conceptualizing how you even teach on Zoom and like what even is Zoom and what's a Zoom? Have you ever heard of Zoom before? I only knew Skype. And we were talking about like how you can teach multiple classes at once. You had this vision of doing mini versions of each sweater you were teaching for samples. You remember that?
Yeah, I still do that.
Yeah,
I have one right here.
Yeah, like the little mini sweater. So very quickly you were like, that's not going to be the case for all these sweaters because screw that. But you've got your like go-tos, your go-to minis. So I've taken that with my Ingrid. So I've been working on a little baby Ingrid. And you got to riff with the stitch counts, but it's fun. So I'm also just like making this dumb Ingrid that's for no one or nothing. It's like it's gonna be like for a baby with a huge head or something. I don't know. But
I also have this. I think this is I have this car bag.
It's so funny. Like, yeah.
They're so funny. Yeah. She's a little worse for wear. Because I didn't take care of her properly. Sorry, buddy.
But
yeah, it's great because you can't knit a whole sweater every time you teach a class, but you need to demonstrate things. Mm-hmm. So making a little mini version of it helps with visuals and helps you not have to knit a new full sweater for yourself every time you teach a class.
Yeah, and it doesn't like count for anything, and it's deeply unimpressive to show all of you, but I've been having like real fun with it. It's so silly. I'm just like, hey, this is fun. And so I have that to show
I
but you know,
love it. It's so
yeah,
good. Well, see, that's just so smart because, it's nice. They do that in sewing classes too, where you just take the pattern and you
yeah,
like make the pattern pieces 20% of what they
yeah,
really are, and then you can put together tiny versions of the sewing pattern.
yeah. It's crazy.
I think it's
So
great. Yeah.
it's goofy, it's teacher life, but I don't know. I knew this Allison in particular could appreciate it, so that's
I
what's on
love
the
it.
needles.
I love it. That's work smarter, not harder, right there.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So in this big rush, I'm expecting a house guest this very evening. So I've been cleaning and organizing and all kinds of stuff there's a lot of prep, it turns out, when you and I go on vacation, because we're going on a trip this weekend, but it's a sewing weekend. And it's looking pretty identical to getting ready for a retreat, if I'm being honest. So
Here's my piles
yeah,
that have started.
yeah,
I've got machines, lots of machines, a pattern going on.
yeah.
Yeah. So right in there, those are my piles.
I have one pattern and one supply thing, but I'm going to start digging through the rest to see what else I can throw in the mix. But this is as far as I've gotten, aside like laundering everything in my house and trying to dust. So it's trying to balance that between knitting deadlines. Full plate.
Yeah.
Full
That's a
plate.
full plate. Yeah,
Hmm.
that's a full plate. Yeah, I get you. I get you.
Hmm.
Your work in progresses look great, Laura.
So
Super
do
fun.
yours.
Thank you.
Good for you. 2 sleeves at a time. That counts as 2 projects. So
I would say so. I say so. Oh wait. Before I show you what's in this bag,
yeah.
we had a cliffhanger from last
Oh,
week's episode, Laura.
yes.
Would I be able to put together my dress form that I accidentally murdered?
I
And
thought maybe it was just pushed out of the way for your piles, but you have a
well,
great reveal?
I have a reveal. This is my new friend that I had to buy because I could not fix my old
Uh,
form, and she had to die. She died. She's dead. But I got this new dress form with my Paul McCartney, with Shane's Paul McCartney sweater on it, because I taught Paul McCartney sweater workroom last night. So it looks a little big. That's because she's got a 33-inch bust, Laura, and the sweater is about a 43-inch
positive
bust.
ease. Well, it looks cozy AF.
Yeah,
Cozy
So
AF.
this is my new friend, my very light, fancy white
It's
dress.
nice having it in like a neutral tone as well. So
Not
that really
red.
makes the sweater pop.
Yeah, it does. So she came yesterday. I bid farewell to my dress form that I've had. That was actually a high school graduation gift from my mom. And it died, but it lasted a good, I graduated from high school at least 6 years ago. So it lasted quite a long time.
Very small amount of time. It's not that old, but it survived a lot of moves. So that's something. That's something.
Yes, it did. It moved to Minnesota. It moved back from
and
Minnesota.
back.
It moved a lot. So then in that theme,
there we go. Okay, because everyone was holding their breath. So now we can get back to knitting.
Yep. So
this will be a little bit more snug on the form on your new dress form friend.
Actually,
so that is a lesson in positive ease. Oh, okay.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so this is my Paul McCartney. Last night, I got the bottom of the V-neck steek panel in class. So she's ready to start decreasing for the bottom of that V-neck. But yeah, I'm just tickled at how beautiful this looks. It's going to be such a beautiful sweater. So, she looks good.
It's outstanding. It's so beautiful. I'm blown away. That's so much work. That's so much work.
Knitting. Yeah, so much knitting.
Good thing you've got that fabulous structure in your work group to offer gentle accountability. So good.
Kind of more than gentle accountability because
Mm,
I committed to, I have 1 month to finish the top portion of that sweater so that I can demo cutting open and reinforcing steaks. So that's not a mini size, that's a human size. So
yeah,
I'm going to have to be cranking on that sucker.
big time. Oh man.
But
Wow.
good thing it's so
Uh,
beautiful and I really like looking at it.
no kidding, because you're staring at it for months on end at this point.
Yeah,
Months of
with
your
a
life.
heart, with hard eye emojis, and I do have
Yeah,
a few decreases to do, so maybe that'll help. Oh,
of
get it
course it
going a
will.
little bit.
Of course it will.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
the only other thing I have is more for me than for all of you, but you're stuck here. I have been cleaning, so like cleaning out crafts. Made a big run to Goodwill yesterday and to the waste shed, which miraculously worked out. Donated a ton of yarn, but as I've been doing craft room reorg, I've been finding things that I've been looking for a really long time, including like leftover yarn for projects that I want to use for mending. So I have this pair of socks
Oh,
that has been through it that I love because I love the
oh,
color, but
yeah,
it is called Lucky Penny, this color, which of course is just like perfect. But the
yes.
yarn base is 100% superwash. There is no nylon in it.
Mm.
And for me, for the way I walk, which is like a monster person, I just immediately wear holes in anything that doesn't have nylon reinforcement. Love the idea of not wearing plastic, all natural, but it's just immediate cheese grater, like immediate. On top of which, these suffered a moth attack because they got forgotten under a couch for a season
That'll
and they
happen.
became moth snacks.
Yeah.
So I have a lot of holes throughout, but I finally found the matching yarn and I was able to make like a perfectly matching patch for this really big area in the back. Isn't that awesome?
Whoa.
So I've really been geeking out about how like really that I mean it's obviously patched, but it just is such a perfect blend.
Oh
So it was
my
just very
God.
satisfying. Super
Seriously,
satisfying.
uh visible mending is so in that you kind of
Yeah.
forget about invisible mending and how freaking amazing it is to have
Seriously,
your
right?
mending match.
Yeah, it's just like it's really the little things, y'all, but this is the kind of stuff that I just get so pumped about. So yeah, I
Wow.
just made a patch and
Yeah,
it just blends right
that's
in.
good. Yeah.
Yeah, I attempted to do a like a felt fix, and I just had like a big felted blob back here, which was fine.
Yeah.
But now I've made the patch over it, so it's like insulated on the inside. I'm just thrilled by the whole thing. So anyway,
Nice.
um, it's there's nothing more appealing, and tell me if you can relate to this, when you're working on something that you're just not supposed to be working on. Like when you just drop everything and work on a project that's like not on the to-do list, you're not,
Oh yeah.
you're supposed to be doing the laundry, you're supposed to be doing the dishes, you're supposed to be working on your actual work. And there's nothing like finding this yarn while you're cleaning out the craft room, being like, I gotta sit down and mend these socks. It's very satisfying. So
Oh
that
yeah.
was another technical whip this week.
Love that. Oh my gosh, that reminds me, Laura. I did you put up a mending, like a mend along night
Great
yet?
accountability post because I will do that after this. I'm going to sit down and do it because I've been thinking about it. This is my entire
Good.
mending pile back here. So yes, it's a yes
I feel like you
for
have to
sure.
share this with the people, Mendon McDougal.
Yeah, I think it'll be a quarterly hang, similar to our rip it out, level up, and it's just come and mend, and I can show you different things I'm working on. So,
Love
because it's hard to
that.
set aside the time to do it, but then you get to have a little thrill
Yeah.
when those socks are back in action. So,
Yeah.
there you go.
I love that. Well, I can't wait for it. I think that's going to be very informative and well attended.
Yes,
Yeah.
so that keep an eye out for that too. Also coming soon is another movie night, just where we stream movies because that's so fun. We're going to have that in Culture Corner, which is the section in Laura Allison Party. If you're not a member of Culture Corner, that's the place to find a movie streaming night, all online and lots of fun. So more about that soon as well.
Love it.
On the to-do
Love it.
list, the
Well,
unending to-do list.
yeah, no kidding. So Laura, it feels like
Hmm.
you've been very busy this week. You launched new sweater club dates.
New sweater club dates. Hooray. So new sweater club dates are in the house. We were so bowled over by the success of the triumphant return of Sweater Club for February that we've added dates for March and April. We have March 12th, which is a Tuesday night at Spiteful Brewing here in Chicago, 6:30 to 8:30, and then Sunday, April 14th at Half Acre Brewing, which is right next door. Now, am I concerned that people are going to confuse the two?
Mm,
Yes. But are they right next door to each other and it's not that big a deal? Also, yes. So
yes,
you won't be able to actually get in to Half Acre on Tuesday,
I was
March
just gonna
12th. It's
say
closed.
closed.
So
Yeah.
it's
Yep.
gonna do my job for me.
Yes.
But yes, both 2-hour sessions, low price of $45, and expert instruction and hangs, it sells itself. You can be like Elle, who I see is typing, and buy them both at once. I think that's the pro move. That's the pro play.
Yeah.
But I'm
Yeah.
just excited for more in-person stuff where we get to do in-person instruction. I love that.
Yeah, I think that's going to be so fun. And it's fun to mix it up a little bit. Our dates for February are at our friends at Botanical Cafe
Yeah.
are hosting us. More
Hmm.
cafe vibes, more coffee vibes. We like that. It's morning
Hmm.
dates and in an early afternoon. We thought, why not lean into a happy hour vibes
Yeah.
for the next ones and, have a little bit even more of a chill environment. Grab a beer, grab a non-alcoholic bev, grab lunch,
Hmm.
and knit along with us and get some help with your projects. It's going to be really fun.
For sure. So, uh, not a lot of food options at the Spiteful, I will tell you, but they do
Oh,
have
right.
good crisps. So
Gotta be
otherwise,
crisp.
yeah, bring some snacks. But
Yeah.
I
BYO
love this
food.
plan. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But the B is there, including non-alcoholic options for our non-alcoholic friends,
Yeah.
non-alcoholic, non-drinkers.
Non-alcoholic friends.
Yeah,
uh, Great. I love that. Yeah, sounds
yeah.
good. So get those tickets while you can. They are available at lauraallison.com.
Yep. Sunday in particular is going fast. So check it out. Check it out, y'all. We'd love to see you there. So that was pretty exciting content.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we announced a new knit along this week as well, Allison.
Oh my gosh, it's true. It's true.
Hmm.
This one has been under high demand
Yes.
since the lovely Caro knit and finished and has been wearing her beautiful heirloom heirloom quilt
Quilt
cardigan. It
cardigan.
doesn't
Yes.
really
No.
roll off the tongue.
Different than the heirloom cardigan, which is what I always want to look up, but it's heirloom quilt
Quilt
cardigan. Yeah.
heirloom
Yeah.
quilt cardigan. And the designer of that is Katrin Seeberger. Katrin Seeberger. So we're excited about this one because we love stash busting around here. And this is a really good stash buster. Laura, I'm going to try to share my screen.
Share that
I'm
screen,
going
girl.
to try
Share
to
that screen.
share my screen. Well, it's always a little risky.
Yes,
To
due to my
try
technical
to
difficulties earlier, make my heart go out to you.
Okay, I think
Let's
it's
see.
here. All right, let's see. Oh, that looks like it might be working. So here she is. Here is the beautiful quilt cardigan. Yeah, she's real cute. So what you do is you just make a bunch of these little quilt squares and then you seam them together. And that's why you can use as many or as few colors as you want to. It's pretty, it seems like it's going to be really fun to play around with color combos and sizing and any modifications you want to make. I think it's going to be a really great time. So start pulling your yarns. I see people digging around for their mini skeins. People are digging around for those little balls that are left over when you get done with a sweater. In fact, I am not even taking the leftovers from this sweater out of that bag. They're staying in the bag, and now that project bag is just gonna be for this cardigan. So I'm just going with it. All right, I'm just going with it.
Yes, I believe the pattern calls for DK, but it can be any gauge you want. So
yep, it calls for 2 fingering weight strands held together for some reason. But yeah, you can do anything you want to. I mostly pulled worsteds for mine. The squares are in 3 different sizes in the pattern, with the idea that you will just put them together in the same way. But if you have bigger squares, you will have a bigger cardigan. But we'll talk about how to modify that on your own. If you have smaller squares, you can make more of them. If you have bigger squares, you can make less of them and slap this thing together. So it seems pretty straightforward, but we're going to have a ton of fun with it. So dig around, see what you can.
And also suggested by the queen herself, Caro, is a square swap. So if you are just super motivated to knit an extra square to share with a friend, I think you should. I think
that's very cute. I like that. So yeah, and if you're looking for single skeins popping around, check out the D-Stash section of Laura Allison Party. There's a ton of stuff in there. I do feel like this would be a fun way to use up little bits and bobs that you have of spin cycle left over or other long color changing yarns, because the whole thing is kind of crazy. So why not just turn it to 11? That'd be fun. Queen of the D-Stash, Lisa herself, is saying she has a ton of DK out right now. So if you're looking for anything, check with Lisa on the 100%. D-Stash.
And you can also check springresale.etsy.com for even more party DK D-Stash. There's a lot over there too.
Love that. So there are lots of ways that you can get your yarn for this, or maybe just supplement. Like if you have 2 or 3 skeins you really like, but you need a neutral to mix in there or something. I think that would be really fun. So
that's the fun part. Yeah. Got to have something a little bit new to make it feel, exciting.
Oh yeah. Make it feel a little bit more exciting. Exactly. So we are looking forward to doing that starting Tuesdays in March. So you have some time to shop around or dig through the stash. Laura, I feel like maybe that would be something that people would do instead of sitting down to their to-do list.
100%.
Say, oh, you know what? Time to dig through that
People
stash.
Are probably doing it. They're probably taking their phones over to their stash and pawing through it as we speak. So that's why everyone's like, what's it? What? DK? Is it DK? Yeah. Whatever you want, whatever's in your heart.
Yeah, it's whatever you want. Yeah, who cares? Just use your leftovers. We love that. Yeah. So yeah, we announced that this week. Laura, another big project that I had this week really was putting together Super Bowl squares.
Yeah, tell us about that. I've always struggled to get my head around Super Bowl squares, so I'm very excited to see them in action over the weekend, because I've definitely had various Michigan family members reach out to me, and I've bought squares for somebody's dance team and baseball team, and I didn't know what was happening, and I never see that money again. So I just thought it was a fire that you throw money into, but apparently it's like a game?
Yeah, it's a fun game.
Okay.
So it's gambling, which is kind of like throwing your money into a fire.
Yeah, that's how I feel about gambling. Yes. Again, with the hot takes, drugs are bad, don't like gambling. Am I from the Midwest? You guessed it. Gambling, Puritan bullshit.
Right.
That's me.
Which is why. So Laura, what was funny is I was working on this on Sunday, like between classes, and I was Googling like how to do Super Bowl squares. Like,
I just thought that was one of those many things that you know. I just thought you knew.
No, I had absolutely no idea. No, absolutely. But when people say, hey, Allison, you know what would be fun? You should do Super Bowl squares for the party. And I say, absolutely, I'll do that.
Yeah.
No problem at all. And then I'm like,
what is it? Yeah, got to find that Michigan cousin whose kid's on the dance team to explain it to you, because I don't get it.
So I read multiple instructional summaries. So, and so then I built my own Super Bowl square in Excel. So that's when I
Of
got
course,
back
your
in.
best
I was
friend.
like, oh,
Yeah,
yes.
your best
Oh,
friend.
this needs a spreadsheet. I'm on it.
Yes.
I'm on it. Yep. So what you do is you buy a square. And now, Laura, I debated. Okay.
Okay.
I was thinking, I want people to participate in this because there's 100 squares that I have to fill and I have to get people to buy them. So then they can win money. And I debated between should the squares be $2 or should the squares be $3? And $3 just seems like too much. $2 seems like way easier because then you just send over your $10, you get your 5 squares. That's like not a big deal. I don't want to be here having to put up a warning sign on the bottom of my screen to say if you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Yeah.
Today.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to be responsible for that.
Okay.
So that's why I picked $2. All right.
Okay.
So
everyone can keep their house.
Everyone can keep their house. Exactly. And if they win, they get $50, which is like enough to be happy about, but not enough to like, again, immediately want to gamble on everything. And then I'm responsible for people's gambling problems. We can't have that. So I sold all the squares and I put everybody's names in the grid and then I hit shuffle like 70,000 times.
Okay. So people don't pick their own numbers.
No.
Okay, it's assigned.
Chaos.
Okay.
That's too much chaos. Yeah, it's assigned. So I put them all in. I scrambled, and then I set it up. So on the top, it's Kansas City. And on the side, it's the San Francisco 49ers.
Yes.
And there's numbers 0 through 9. So at the end of each quarter, so let's say at the end of the first quarter, Kansas City has 3 points and the 49ers have 7 points. Then I would find the 3 and I would find the 7, and who's ever in that square wins $50.
But does the numbers go through like 90 or whatever? Or is it like, because I've seen it where it's like 1 through 10 and then it's whatever the last number or the combination of the two?
Last number. It's the last number. So then at the end of at halftime, when it's Usher o'clock, then if the score is 12 to 19, it would be the 2 and the 9.
All right.
All right. Yeah. So that is how Super Bowl Squares works.
Got it. All right.
And so that was a fun little side project. You never know what your week's going to bring you,
No, indeed.
And this week, that's what my week brought me, is researching, selling, and filling out a Super Bowl Squares.
Well, that's very impressive. And we're getting some questions in the chat. That is closed. All of the squares have sold. So if you want to do your own independent square, your own Taylor square, you're more than welcome. But this is just for the football game.
Yes.
In between the Usher concert. So that's what's happening.
Yes. Between Reba and Usher.
Yeah.
And then between Usher.
There's a game, a game within a game.
Whatever happens. Yeah.
Yeah.
So will Taylor show up? My money's on
I
yes.
think that's
but
an
again,
absolute
I'm not
yes.
a gambler. I'm not a gambler.
Absolute yes. Absolute yes.
So that's what I'm just getting ready for March Madness because I feel like this is just going to keep going. Now we're sporty girls and now we sporty now. So just wait for March Madness to hit and we're going to be bracketing our faces off.
Well, I always bracket based on no information and always do a lot better than everyone in my family that has all the information. So but my number one pick never wins, but I'll never stop picking my number one pick. So there you go.
Yeah, I want to be interviewed one day by SportsCenter, and I want to be that little old lady that's just like, well, my grandson knew someone once who went to Villanova, so I had to pick Villanova, and then my Kat was originally from New Mexico. So that's why I picked a New
Yep.
Mexico State to play. I want to be that old lady.
I love
That's
it.
a dream of mine.
I love
So,
Ella sharing her method that she did warm versus cool colors in the school colors. I just love that. I always like when in doubt, I love a good logo face off. So I just want a mascot face off. So
yes.
it's like, would a bulldog eat a hawk? And then you have this whole thought. You know, it depends on the day sometimes. But you know, if
Yeah.
it's like Syracuse, I think that's a tree. Like, ooh, you're going down. You're going down
Yeah.
versus most animals. So
Really easy to take down a tree. Global
yeah.
warming.
Yeah. We're living that right now.
Simple. So yeah. So now I do this. And pretty soon I'm gonna be like a gambling sports mogul.
Well,
And
with great power,
I fell back horse into it.
you are going to have to start providing that number. So just so you know.
Yeah, 1-800-GAMBLER. Just in New York, though. I don't know what the number is anywhere else. Laura, I heard you went and didn't sleep through an opera this weekend.
I did. I went to an opera, and you know that is this past Saturday, I went to the opera, and that is a sentence that a 12-year-old me really thought. Like when I live in a big city one day, that's the kind of thing I'd be saying on the regular. But the fact is, I've been to 6 operas in my lifetime, which is 39 years, and 2 of them have been in the past year. So it's not. I'm not an expert of the genre by any stretch of the imagination, but I was taken on a date, so that was very nice. The number one thing about this opera, which was called Champion, it is a modern opera with jazz influence. The number one thing about it is that the orchestra was the best orchestra that has ever played music because our very own cousin Terry is in the orchestra for Champion. I don't know if she was there on Saturday, but she's listed right there in the program. It was the first thing I flipped to when I got there, and I was like, there she is.
She was the only Van Valkenburg?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Terry's a big deal for those of you that don't know. And therefore, I mean, the thing that got me through was the viola. Like, that is for sure the number one thing that's great about this opera. Okay. And everything that the orchestra did, 10 out of 10, so great. So, Terry, you carried everything.
You are the champion, as usual.
Yes.
My cousin Terry.
That's right. So, I want to say that off the jump, okay, before I get into my next thoughts about the show, which also incidentally won a Grammy over the weekend, the Mets production of it. But I think that the story is fascinating. It is the story. I really have gotten into this mode where I'm not doing previews anymore, and I don't read things before I go. I'm just going, and that has been a mixed bag for me. But the one sentence pitch that Brooke gave me before we went, he was like, about a boxer who killed a guy in the ring. And I was like, okay, well, that's potential for drama. And then I was looking around the crowd, and it was the most diverse crowd I've ever seen. And the outfits were awesome. And the average age of the people truly was like 40s. I was like, okay, there was a lot of sequin.
Possibly be.
There was a lot of
I have been to many operas, and the average age has been 92.
Well, so listen up, all right? So there was sequin. There was like full beats of makeup. And I was like, oh, what is this program? And it turns out that the boxer that killed a guy in a ring was also gay. So he is struggling in the 50s with masculinity and what it means. And he's also an immigrant. So there is it's a whole cacophony of issues, and therefore as a story is quite interesting. Now, for me personally, let's go back to the beginning where I said I'm a non-opera expert. For me personally, I think the format was a little limiting to tell the story. So I feel that it's a musical. This show is a straight up musical and would be incredible. But as an opera, I felt it was really hard to get there emotionally. So the dancing, however, the costumes, oh boy. But the arias, tough. It's tough. And he's from the Virgin Islands, so they are inflecting their opera voices with island accent, like Jamaican adjacent. So they're not saying man, they're saying mon, for example. So it's it's challenging at a lot of levels. A lot of levels.
It does sound like a baller musical, though.
As a musical, like it has so much. I was just weeping at the opportunity because the dancing, oh my God, the costumes, oh my God, but yeah, the themes of his life are so interesting, and they kept picking at these random details and really doubling down, which I understand is an opera thing where you just like have a theme and you repeat the theme over and over and over. And at one point, he thought he was going to be a hat maker, and they go to a hat factory where he meets his first boxing coach. But in this hat factory, there's the chorus of hat makers, and they keep singing about weaving hats into dreams and dreams into hats and hats into dreams and dreams into hats. And I was like, oh, I don't know about her. I don't know. We have not seen one gay kiss yet. And this is hats and the dreams and the dreams and the hats and the hats and the dreams. And I was struggling. Oh, but finally we got into the ring and men were in tight tank tops and boxing, and that was fun. But my God, the hats and the dreams. I just kind of grabbed Brooks' arm, but he was just like, he's like, I can't even look at you. I can't even look at you. It's just like, I was reading a little bit about the composer, who's a really interesting guy, but who has a jazz background. And I think he was trying to make an opera that, he wanted it to be serious, and it was just like, okay. But please, let's let it be a musical. It could be way more fun. That being said, everyone's very talented, and I've never seen a more diverse cast of true stars. All of the leads were people of color, and it was just so phenomenal, and their voices are phenomenal. But, whoo, boy, it was a little challenging for me. That's my review.
I love
it. But the orchestration, oh my God, the viola. Mwah.
More viola, always more viola. So kind of on that similar line, Laura, I finally pushed play on season 3 of Only Murders in the Building, where they are making a musical.
Oh my God, are they? And now I gotta check it out. Oh my God, how fun.
God, it was very good. Very good.
Love that.
And so I watched it in 2 days. It was very good. I had, of course, enjoyed the first 2 seasons of that show. That show I think is very good.
Same.
And then they brought in Meryl Streep and Paul Rudd.
Okay. I'm not turning that off.
Very good, very hilarious cameos. I think because the season came out so long ago, I had forgotten about these cameos. So then I was just like delighted when people showed up.
Love that.
And it was great. I was giggling. It was the whole shebang.
Jesse Williams.
Jesse Williams is a character throughout. He is so hot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's so hot. And that's kind of one of the things in it is all of the women, no matter where they are on the age spectrum, they're all just like, that guy.
Yeah.
So hot.
Oh, boy.
So hot. And I think Paul Rudd is such a value add. I think he's a really underrated actor. There are parts of this part where he pops up and he's doing he has a very complicated character, and as the season goes on, more and more complicated, insane things keep being revealed, and I don't think he gets the credit that he deserves, because he was there are a couple moments where you're just like, God damn it, Paul Rudd, you're bringing this home to me right now.
Well, and not to revisit last week's Oscar rant, but that's because anything that's considered comedy adjacent is not considered serious work. And I think comedy especially, and to portray charming and effervescence without being cloying and obnoxious. That's a very hard needle to thread, and he does it every time. Every time.
He does it every time. And he strays into being like insufferable, which I think he does really well.
He's
Too,
a good
where he's
observer.
just like, yes, and his character is like a dickhead, but he does it in such a way where you're still kind of rooting for him and feeling for him, even though he's so terrible.
Yeah.
It takes it, and he's the perfect person to be in this role for this.
Yeah,
For this.
he
So,
totally pulled that off
loved
in
it.
Parks and Rec, like when he was
I
the Nepo candidate, like running for mayor, and you were like, "Oh,
I
this
was
guy, I'm gonna
thinking
hate
about
this
him.
guy," and he was just kind of just sweet golden retriever man. It was just like, "Oh no, Leslie, you'd
Oh
be
my
really good
God.
at this job," and you're like, "Oh my God, why do I love him?"
I think the best scene in all of Parks and Rec is when Leslie Knope gets to vote for herself.
Yep.
And then she's like taking a moment and she like just cast that
Oh,
vote.
it's so
She's
good.
taking a moment thinking about how great she has done in her life and everything. And then Paul Rudd pops over the booth, the voting booth. He's like, Leslie, how do you work this thing? I can't get this. Will you help me? I can't hit the right button. And she's just like, oh my God. And that was such, and it was like right before Hillary Clinton went. I whenever I see that scene, it's like the hardest and the most hilarious moment in there. That's one of the things that's so great about that show. I think they just nail so many things about it. But
really
I'll never
do.
forget that. Paul Rudd's character in that is so completely ridiculous. But yeah, I just love that guy. So if you haven't pushed play on that season 3 of Only Murders in the Building, I would definitely
Great.
Step back and put your feet up and enjoy it, because it is a delight. And guess what, Laura? I have another hot take for you.
Yes.
Meryl Streep is a really good actress.
Listen, I had a crisis on an airplane. The wing stayed on the plane, so it was, maybe only slightly
what about that thing
less
at the
dramatic.
Bottom? Did that fall? Was there a hole in the bottom?
The plane as a structure was intact, so it was still a crisis for me, but only slightly less than the poor 9-year-old that was by the wing and had his shirt ripped off by the air when the wing fell off. But it was just as bad because I didn't have headphones that could plug into the screen on an international flight, and I could not listen to the in-flight movies. And there you can see it's the same. This is just as bad.
9 hours. Yeah.
It was 9 hours. It was really, really tough. And I'll just let you all flood the comments with how sorry you are for me. But it was, so then because it was an international flight, I was like, well, subtitles, I guess. But they were subtitles in Danish because it was an SAS flight. There were only like 5 movies that had English subtitles. 4 of them were Pixar movies. And I was like, God damn it. But the one that wasn't was the HBO movie with Meryl Streep, where she is a famous writer who is afraid to fly and goes on the Queen Mary with 2 of her friends from college, who are Diane Wiest and Candice Bergen.
You are making this up. This is not a movie. You did have a breakdown, and now you're making up.
No, it's for real. It's an HBO original. I think it's called People Will Talk. I can't remember the title. It's a very generic title, but it was so compelling. Like all 3 of those women are so good that Gemma Chan from Crazy Rich Asians is in it too, as like a plucky literary agent who sneaks on the ship. And it is like, I was so compelled. Like I was like up to, like, this was just me reading like the whole time. It was so compelling that I went back when I got home, I watched it again with the sound on, because hot take that Meryl Streep is so damn good, y'all. So you don't even have to hear her to know it. So there you go. Yeah. I agree.
Yeah. She pops up first scene of the first episode of season 3 of Only Murders in the Building is all about like how she became an actress. Her character became an actress. And you're in like before the credits roll, I was like, holy shit, I'm in. I'm in for this. Oh my God. You just feel yourself getting just sucked in. You really do. It's a magic. It is a
Yeah.
magic. And
I have very strong feelings about
wow.
just the lifelong love of Steve Martin and Martin Short.
Oh
And
my
so
God, I know.
like
Oh.
in particular, Martin Short like is the funniest man that's ever lived, in my opinion. He has a physicality that it just kills me every time. So deeply funny to me. But it's and he's just right in the wheelhouse for our generation too. I'm just thinking that guy's the most hilarious guy. But and Steve Martin
every
too.
movie on Comedy Central while we were growing up, always. So anytime we got home from school and our parents weren't home yet, and we had to turn the TV on and watch whatever we wanted because nobody was telling us not to watch TV, that some movie with him in it was on.
Yep, 100%.
And it was great.
Father the Bride. I mean,
Martin, honestly, yeah, he's it for me.
Yeah, he does it for you, or does not do it for you.
He's it for me. He's it for me.
Oh,
like,
same.
The top of the top.
I was like, ooh, that's hard to hear, because like all-time favorite comedy for me is The Jerk. Like the Father the Bride movies, I've seen 10,000 times. And you just can't beat it. He is a perfect like straight man. Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, blah blah blah. Anyway, we're saying a lot of obvious things today. I feel like is the theme, but
that's what we have to do. We have to hit him with some hot takes, and then we got to let him
make him feel comfortable.
Yes, now you're comfortable.
Much like how I felt comfortable knowing that those two were in that show. So the minute I see them and they're on screen together, I'm like, I'm in good hands. I'll go wherever we need to go here. And then you throw in how surprisingly good Selena Gomez is, like some really good, some really great set design, some really cool costumes, and then like the story gets really good, and you're like, okay, I feel very taken care of. So for you to be presented with them in that season 3, and they they march out proudly and strongly. Meryl Streep, it's like, oh my God, there's a hat on my hat on my hat.
That is it. Meryl Streep looks like she is 30 years younger than those fool men too. She's got a braid the whole time. She's just sprightly. She's doing it. She's looking great. She's doing her yoga every morning. Yeah, it's happening for sure. Meryl's doing great.
Well, there you go. Yeah. Well, we are really cultured ladies this week. I'm proud of us. We're really giving people all the takes, all the options.
Well, good, because Laura, we will not be recording next week because we have a retreat that we will be at next week.
Yes,
so
indeed.
We will not be here. So it's a good thing that we gave people some homework, some things to watch, some things to plan for, some things to set up for themselves, so that they won't miss us for 2 weeks. We'll be back in 2 weeks.
You've got a lot to get through, y'all. So good luck with your homework.
Good luck. And I still think that we haven't influenced enough people to watch Funny Woman on PBS.
No,
I haven't gotten any of that feedback yet.
I know it's been crickets, and particularly in the in the Culture Corner section of LauraAllison.party, that is a perfect place to start the discourse around how good the wigs and costuming are in that show. So we're just waiting. Yeah. We're just waiting.
So you have 2 weeks. You have your homework.
Have at it, y'all.
Mm-hmm. Come on, watch some shit.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Laura, as always, a pleasure.
Yes. Thank you so much.
So glad we could do this. I will see you very soon, since we will be spending the weekend together, working on this pile.
That's right.
And when we are back in 2 weeks, maybe we can show off what we
show and tell.
Yeah.
I think that's a great cliffhanger, y'all. We'll see you in 2 weeks.
Sounds good. Bye, everybody.
Bye, y'all.